Where did life originate on our planet? Could it have been at the bottom of the ocean? Near underwater volcanoes? What are the current scenarios for the origin of life? Where can bacteria live? We will try to answer these and similar questions in today's episode of the series Secrets of Genes, in which I welcome you. My name is Eduard Kejnovský, and I work as a geneticist at the Academy of Sciences of the Czech Republic. In the previous episode, I mentioned that oxygen was a serious problem for the formation of the first molecules of life. But scientists did not give up in their search for the origin of life, and they elegantly solved the problem of oxygen in the atmosphere by moving the birthplace of life under a protective layer of water to the ocean floor. There, even destructive ultraviolet radiation cannot reach. And why the ocean floor specifically? At school, we learned that all life, directly or indirectly, depends on energy coming from the sun. Green plants use photosynthesis to produce organic substances from inorganic ones. Animals then feed on the plants. Their bodies are broken down by microbes into inorganic substances, thus closing the cycle. This cycle is powered by the energy of the sun. But that's only part of the truth. It has turned out that there is abundant life on the ocean floor, in the darkness where no sunlight penetrates. In 1977, underwater vents were discovered near the Galapagos, openings in the ocean floor several hundred meters wide. Superheated water rich in minerals, especially sulfur, gushes out from them. When it comes into contact with the cold seawater, the minerals crystallize and settle on the ocean floor as a black dust. The biggest surprise was the discovery of abundant life around these black smokers. And it's not just any kind of life, it's a rich community of microbes. Mostly so-called thermophiles, bacteria that love high temperatures. And what do they feed on? They draw their energy precisely from minerals rich in sulfur. The high temperature drives their life processes, and their genetic makeup is adapted so that they can obtain energy from the chemicals in their surroundings. For example, bacteria that obtain energy from inorganic substances, so-called chemolithotrophic bacteria, were already discovered in 1887 by the Ukrainian microbiologist Winogradsky. Scientists were surprised by the diversity of life around black smokers. Microbes here serve as the primary producers of energy-rich organic substances, which can then be used by other organisms in the food chain, such as various mollusks, worms, or fish. Microbes in these regions play the same role as plants do on land. The described exotic ecosystem was so fascinating that scientists used it as the setting for an ancient natural theater. They proposed it as a possible place where life originated. In the dark depths, energy for the formation of the first molecules of life could have been obtained from the energy-rich chemical bonds of certain minerals. Metal sulfides or other minerals such as pyrite could have served not only as a source of energy for the creation of simple organic compounds like amino acids, but also for their subsequent linking into longer molecules, peptides and proteins. This hypothesis was already proposed in the 1980s. In the 20th century, the Bavarian scientist Gunther Wechtershäuser proposed this idea, and it was later developed further by Americans William Martin and Michael Russell. According to them, a simple metabolism containing various biochemical cycles could have existed even before heredity. And only gradually did it lead to more complex substances and molecules capable of storing hereditary information. A whole range of similar hydrothermal ecosystems have gradually been discovered, especially along the mid-ocean ridges at the bottom of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. In addition to the acidic and boiling black smokers, there are also significantly different alkaline and less hot white smokers. You might say these are downright hellish conditions. high temperatures, extreme pressures, darkness. In reality, it was, in the past, a peaceful place protected from constant meteorite bombardment, a place where aggressive oxygen could not reach. Since the early 1990s, in the 20th century, this idea of the origin of life became so widespread that it was generally accepted as an equal alternative to the Urey-Miller scenario, which was discussed in the previous episode. You might be thinking that a similarly protected place, suitable for the origin of life, could also be the Earth's depths. Yes, that's possible too. In 1990, Thomas Gould came up with the so-called theory of the deep hot biosphere. According to him, life originated several kilometers beneath the Earth's surface, and he had compelling reasons for his view. Believe it or not, even today bacteria live at this depth. Biologists were assisted here by mining companies specializing in oil drilling. This made it possible to collect rock samples from several kilometers deep. Of course, it was necessary to rule out possible contamination by terrestrial microorganisms. But the result was shocking. Even in the hardest rock, such as granite, bacteria were living at a depth of several kilometers. Thomas Gould even calculated that the bacteria living in the Earth's surface layer collectively weigh more than all the living inhabitants on the surface of our planet. Even though bacteria make up only a tiny fraction of the rocks, we have to realize that they are dispersed throughout an enormous volume. Bacteria simply live in every imaginable environment. In heat, in cold, in dryness, in moisture, in light, and in darkness. They are present in the sea, in the soil, in rocks. Surrounded by them, they cover the entire surface of our bodies and inhabit our insides. Everywhere you find abundant microbial life. Life as we know it today would simply be unthinkable without bacteria. On one hand, we have terrestrial life powered by the sun. On the other, there is the dark life around underwater volcanoes spewing sulfur, as well as life underground. Life, therefore, reigns over all possible environments: atmosphere, water, and rocks. And it is precisely the wide range of environments in which today's simple forms of life exist that may have prompted scientists to further expand the palette of possible places they consider when searching for the origins of life, even to include the surrounding universe. And that's all for today. In the next episode, we'll talk about the panspermia hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, life was brought to Earth from space. I'm looking forward to seeing you. If you enjoy my storytelling, I would appreciate a like. And if you want me to continue making episodes about genetics and evolution, please subscribe. That will help these videos reach more people. I really appreciate your support. Thank you and bye-bye.